Hello and welcome back to Devi Daily Yoga. This is a gentle Yin Yoga practice focusing on opening the heart with passive back bends. We will be doing long holds today. We will be doing a deeply relaxing practice that is good for any level of practitioner, including beginners. And we will need some props for this practice today. So 2 yoga blocks and a yoga strap or a belt of some kind. And we'll also want to be near a wall for the last 2 postures that we're going to do. And a cushion might be useful as well for the first thing, which is a seated meditation. So find a comfortable seat. You could also be in a chair or leaning back against a wall as you see fit, or perhaps even just lying down on the back if you want to have a more restful opening meditation. So make yourself comfortable, and we'll begin with going inward and letting the eyes close down. Starting to feel the flow of your breath as it is. And beginning to just gently scan the inner landscape of this being, of this body, the sensations that are coming to your awareness. What parts of the body do you feel and notice? Is there any part that wants to move or shift to be more comfortable? Listen to that urge. Be sure to take care of your physical positioning. And notice how your spine moves inside of your body with each breath. Each time that you inhale, there is an expansion of the back of the body, an expansion between the vertebrae of the spine. And with each exhale, the spine kind of contracts along with the rest of the body, a gentle contraction, tuning into this pulse. Your own rhythm of expansion and contraction. And from this space of quiet and calm, if there's any mental awareness, any thinking or planning or remembering or emotions, allow them to be, allow them to arise, allow whatever comes into this place and let it know that it is welcome. All parts of your life and all parts of yourself are welcome here. And as we welcome all parts of the self into the heart, begin to breathe very gently right into the heart space. Feeling the ribs expand and deflate, forward out to the sides. And now taking the hands to the heart, one hand on top of the other. And creating this loop as the heart sends its energy out through the arms and into the hands and palms and fingers. And the hands feeding back energy to the heart. Joining to chant Om 3 times. You can chant silently, inwardly, or outwardly, and knowing it's not about how the Om sounds, it's entirely about how it feels as you vibrate your own heart with sound. Begin with an inhale and an exhale, just relaxing as you exhale. And now inhaling again and chanting when you're ready. And releasing the arms, the hands back down, gently letting the eyes open up. And coming into supported fish pose. So using your 2 blocks to support the head and the back of the heart. So the way we set this up is to have 1 block at its middle height under the heart and 1 block at its high height under the head. Or if you have a different way that you know already that you like to set your blocks up, maybe you prefer the long way of the block here, or maybe you prefer 2 low blocks or whatever it is. Just keep in mind that when you have your head, this is where the head is going. When we have this higher, it's less intense. When we have the head lower, it's more intense. So if you want to be gentle, then start out in this position with me, and we will sit so that the back of the heart comes to the first block and it catches the bottom edge of the shoulder blades, and the head comes onto, the base of the skull comes onto this second block. And the arms spill out to the sides, and the legs can do a number of options here, and it doesn't matter so much what the legs do because this is really about the upper body, the chest, the heart. But you could choose to extend the legs straight ahead, or bend the knees and have the feet flat on the ground, or even rest the knees against one another, or open the knees out like a butterfly pose with the feet touching, which is, I think, where I will rest. Sometimes just the first few moments in the pose are about tweaking your props to find the right place. And I'm going to lower the block that's under my head. And as you rest into this pose, feel the opening that's in the heart, in the ribs. And feel the breath moving, filling into this space around the heart, inside the ribs. You might explore different angles with the arms as well, down more toward the hips or farther out to the sides. Softening into this support. Breathing and relaxing here. And it may feel good to you to explore different positions of the arms, maybe reaching the arms over the head and letting them hang, maybe exploring different rotations of the arms, or clasping, interlacing fingers, holding opposite elbows. Or if that's all too much on your shoulders, you could just keep them down at your sides. Releasing, slowly bring the legs together and come off your props either by rolling to the side and sitting up or pushing straight up with the hands, whatever seems gentler. And we'll put the blocks aside as we come into child's pose for a rebound. And the rebound is the time where we just rest and feel the effects of the pose. Resting here for a minute, more or less. Now slowly come up and transition onto your back for spinal twist. On the back, we'll be taking both knees into the chest and letting both knees come over to the right. So make yourself comfortable here by shifting around in whatever ways you need to. Your right hand could be here to anchor the legs, your left arm extended out to the left side at whatever angle feels good. And variations of the twist are available in my Yin Yoga guidebook. You could take any variation that seems good for today. You could also have this pillow in between your knees or under your knees or between your feet, if that helps you to be more calm and rested in the position. So we have a nice long hold on each side to really soften and melt into. Twists are a wonderful way to open the heart with the breath. One side at a time. So here we are certainly twisting the spine and having this really nice therapeutic compression in the discs of the spine, but also the chest, the upper chest muscles are extending and lengthening, and you can really optimize this by exploring different positions of the head. You could have your head more centered or more to the left or more to the right. See what feels the best right now for your chest, for your heart. Finding that place to eventually settle and rest. Allowing the breath to flow freely as you continue to rest. Now let's take this left arm up next to the head, tracing the fingers along the ground. Turn the head to center. And now roll all the way over onto your right side. So crossing this left arm over the face and coming into a curled up position on your side. Chin toward the chest and rest here. And breathe. Feeling the rebound, feeling the effects. And now coming up through the center, very slowly, very gently moving to the second side. Knees to the left, right arm angled in a comfortable position to the right. And here we're opening into the right side of the chest, the right side of the heart, using any props that are needed to make it more comfortable. There can always be support under the head in this position as well. And as your body softens into whatever position you're in, welcoming an attitude of kindness to yourself, gentleness to yourself and to your heart. And now taking the right arm up next to the head, turning the head to the center as you take a nice deep breath. And now rolling all the way over to the left, crossing the arm over the face, and curl up into a ball on your side, resting here. Rolling up to the center and find a resting position on the back. Continuing to feel the effects of the pose here, twisting to the right and to the left. Maybe feeling the sensations in the spinal column, the chest, the heart, the ribs. Bending your knees now and hugging them into your chest. And finding your blocks to come into a Golden Gate pose, otherwise known as pontoon pose or supported bridge. So you might use 1 block or 2 blocks as you lift your hips. 2 blocks on top of each other at the low height might be where it's at for you. It's a little bit high for me, so I'm going to use 1, and you can choose what height. If you're going to use 1, you could be at the middle height or the high height or the low height. And you can choose to keep the legs bent, more like a supported bridge position here, or extend the legs forward, which will be more sensation in the back and more sensation in the hip flexors. Wherever you are, the width between your feet could be greater or narrower, depending on what feels best. And that goes for the arms as well, closer in or farther out to the sides. All these are things you can experiment with to find the best way to stretch and stimulate your sacrum, lower spine, hip flexors. Feel your breath as you continue to rest here into the support of the floor and the support of your block. Releasing slowly. Bend your knees, place your feet flat on the ground first, and then lift your hips, take your block or blocks out, and come to rest on your back, any comfortable position for 1 minute. Feeling the effects of the pose. Sometimes there can be a very deep wave of relaxation after working into the sacrum in that way. And now hug your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Gently rock side to side, massaging the sacrum, massaging the lower back. And now finding your strap, because we're going to use that next. To place the strap around the right foot and extend the leg straight up, or at any angle that feels right for your body. So the idea is to feel a stretch in the back of the leg that's not too intense, which might be closer in or farther away for you. This left leg could be here in this position with the foot on the floor and the knee bent, or it could open out to the side, or it could extend straight forward or out at an angle. So feel free to explore what's the best position for that leg today. And this strap situation could be held with one hand, with your right hand holding two parts of the strap, or both hands. And you could choke up on the strap, or you could rest your elbows down on the ground, whatever your arms enjoy better. This is effectively a half butterfly, a prone half butterfly. It's a really nice way to get into the hamstrings. I love this pose. And if you want to stay still, you could stay still, or if you want to explore very micro adjustments here, you could see what happens if you bring your leg just 3 or 4 inches to the right. Maybe another few inches, just in this way, very subtly getting into exploring the outside edge of your hip socket with your leg bone. And now we can continue this journey all the way out to the side for a groin stretch. So changing our target area now to the inner thigh, and both parts of the strap are in the right hand. You could anchor your thigh down on the left side with your left hand, if that helps. And breathing into what you feel here. You may, of course, not need a strap if you happen to have a natural range of motion that's easy in these directions. You could just be holding your foot. But most of us are going to be using a strap. for a few more moments here. And releasing the leg back up to the center now. Remove the strap as you let the leg float back down to the ground. And interlace the fingers, press the palms up and away as you stretch long down your legs and your feet. Bend the left knee in now and take the strap around the left foot. Extend the left leg up. Find the position of the right leg that you'd like to have, bent at the knee, open out, or straight ahead. And settling in to this nice long hold, fully immersing in body and breath. And beginning the slow exploration out to the left side. You can stop anywhere along the way to feel what that angle feels like. Take your time, a few inches at a time. And eventually maybe finding that more open angle that stretches into your inner thigh. releasing to bring the leg back up to the center. Remove the strap, let the leg float down, and come into any kind of a resting position on your back. Feeling the effects now of this forward bending experience and stretching into the more softer insides of the inner thighs. And now bending the knees, hugging them into your chest. Gently rock side to side. And now bring the knees to center with one hand on each knee. Circle the knees around a couple times in one direction and a couple times in the other direction. And we're going to move into your choice of a back bend between saddle pose and Sphinx pose. So Sphinx will be the better choice for beginners and anyone who doesn't feel terribly flexible, especially in back bending, because saddle is going to be a more intense back bend. So here's our Sphinx pose option today, using the blocks under the forearms and elbows, like so. You could clasp your fingers here, or you could have your hands just any kind of resting position, any rotation of the arms that you like, or to have less height, just be on the ground with your elbows and forearms. Legs can be wider or narrower. Saddle pose could be done sitting between your feet, resting back on the hands, or all the way onto the back, which I'm not going to do right now because I like to have blocks. Or you can sit on top of the feet rather than in between the feet, which is what I'm going to do today. And so there's really not one way that's better than the other. It's really about different people's bodies. So you can play around with it if you're not sure what you like better, sitting on the feet or in between the feet. And as we did earlier with supported fish, you have options of how to angle your blocks. I'm going to start with this angle, the middle height under my heart and the high height under the head. But you again might like to have your blocks more long ways or at different heights. So it always takes some time to get oneself set up in this pose. Take the time you need to set it up right. And also, if you find the tops of the feet hurt, then definitely do take a moment to get something soft to put under your feet. I always have to do that unless I'm on a carpet, which right now I am on a carpet. Both of these postures bend the spine, the lumbar spine and sacrum into a back bend, creating a wonderfully therapeutic compression of the spinal discs that brings healing to the low back, and that can bring a lot of energetic stimulation to the sacrum, to the second chakra, which is a very important center of energy, a very powerful place of energy, where a lot of our personal power can come from. Our sense of belonging, our sense of groundedness, our sense of safety. I do have an entire class about saddle pose, so if you are wondering about this pose, if it's new to you, then you can find my class on saddle pose and learn the right variation for you. And as you continue to rest, you might find you want your arms at a different angle if you're in saddle. You might find you like to have the arms over the head, hanging or holding opposite forearms or elbows, or interlacing the fingers, pressing the palms away. And we'll very slowly now make our way out of this pose onto the back for a rest. Take your time, especially if you're in saddle. Whichever pose you're coming out of, transitioning to the back. Any comfortable position. Breathing. Bending the knees, hugging them in, lifting the forehead up toward the knees, squeeze into a little ball, and stretch back out for banana pose. With the legs coming over to the right, so we'll take the right foot to the corner of the mat, right corner of the mat, and the left ankle over the right ankle. And now both arms over the head toward the top right corner of the mat. And if your arms don't rest on the ground easily, you could choose to use some support under the arms, blocks or a cushion. Or you could just let them hang however they hang if there's no discomfort. The target area here is the whole left side of the body. The left upper arm, the armpit, the left side of the rib cage, the left waist, the left outer hip, and down the outside of the left thigh and leg. This pose is another beautiful way to open into the heart. And we don't really think of side bends as heart openers commonly, but This is an important part of the heart chamber to open up, is the side of the heart, the side of the ribs. The rib cage is like the castle that the heart lives in. And releasing from this first side, rest the arms down at your sides for a moment. As you switch, you could bump your hips out to the right and then take the left ankle toward the left corner of the mat, right ankle over the left, and both arms over the head, this time up toward the top left corner of your mat. For a few more moments here, softly resting, relaxing, and being in this position. Breathing. Breathing into the right side of the heart, the right side of the ribs. And slowly releasing, resting at the center finding center, feeling the spine settling at center as you rest into the effects of the pose 1 minute here. And now bending the knees and rolling over to one side, because we're going to make a gentle migration to the wall. And you might want to have your mat long ways against the wall. So my wall is actually a window, but it works just fine for what we're about to do. I'm going to come into four square pose, as it's sometimes called, or figure four at the wall. And as we come into this, we're not going to need any of our other props here. So to come into the legs up the wall pose where we're starting from, lie down on your side with your sitting bones very close to or touching the wall, and then swing your legs up the wall. Now here, we'll come into figure four with the right knee bending, the right foot coming to the wall, and the left ankle over the knee. And if you find that it's too hard to get the ankle over the knee, which is kind of what I'm feeling now, then that's a sign to come farther away from the wall. So you'll find the right distance so that when you are able to get your ankle over your knee, you feel a stretch in your left glutes. So make any adjustments you need to till that feels right. And then your hands can do whatever feels good. Hands on the belly, out to the sides. You could use the left hand to press into the knee if that feels good. And enjoying this outer hip glute stretch. As always in Yin Yoga, we have much liberty and freedom of choice to do different things with the angles of the body. We could veer the whole unit of the legs to the right or to the left. We could take this foot that's on the wall and try a wider placement or a higher up placement. Continuing to feel the breath and the support of the floor. And now slowly switching sides. Left foot on the wall, right ankle over the left knee. Feeling into the right glutes. and softening into the flow of the breath. And releasing, making your way into your final relaxation position, which is legs up the wall pose today, unless you'd rather rest on your back in Shavasana. So you could kind of scoochie yourself to the wall, but if you've ended up pretty far from it like me, you might want to get on your side again and reposition yourself from the side till you get your sitting bones close to the wall, and then swing the legs back up the wall. Arms could be on the belly, hands on the belly, or out to the sides. And this is where we will settle into our long and final rest. Just letting gravity gently do its thing on the legs, and feel the way gravity hugs the rest of your body toward the earth, your head, your back body, your hips and buttocks and your arms. And as you rest into this awareness of body and all the sensations that have been awakened and stirred by this practice, you might be able to feel and appreciate this sense of being hugged to the earth. This force of gravity that is a constant presence as this body and all bodies are being pulled toward the very same core, the very same center of this planet. And as this planet turns, we continue to be held through the rotations of the days and the seasons. And we can rest in this knowing that we're being held by Mother Earth, nourished and supported. Caring for this body, caring for this heart. And bending the knees now and slowly rolling onto one side. Or if you're not quite ready to finish and close the practice, you could stay there. But if you're coming up with me, then we'll take another minute to sit quietly with the spine upright. Any sitting position that feels good now. And may the healing that has been brought about by this practice continue to benefit this body, this heart, and all those that it comes into contact with. Closing with one final chant of Om, once again taking both hands to the heart, exhaling and inhaling. That is our practice. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Namaste.